Hello, Potato, and welcome back to the fireside. Yep, it's time for another story time. I think I'm going to do this one and maybe one other this week, so if you enjoy these, great! And if you don't enjoy them, well, it was free, wasn't it? So please, once again, gather around the fire for story time. Spacey, Little Cowgirl. Did you get what you came for? Myron Tevish asks, as he and the young lady walk quickly but nonchalantly through the hallways of Degree Station. Yepers, this is really going to help the kids out. Melvin knew that the woman, well, girl really, was going to be trouble from the moment she walked into the saloon. Diamond City is not the sort of place where a person walks around wearing short shorts, a white tank top, a pair of rattlesnake boots topped off with a white and black cowhide patterned cowboy hat. But that's what she did. She called herself Melis and started crowing about how she was going to save the universe. All she needed was a good fighter pilot. Now, Myron couldn't rightly tell if he was bored and lonely or perhaps something more, but he was between escort jobs at the moment, and the idea of spending some time with a pretty young woman seemed a lot more attractive than spending time with drunken miners and spacers on that dustball of a planet. As if sensing his interest, Melis turned to look at Myron. The moment her blue eyes locked on his, he was done for. He stood up and volunteered his services. Melis explained how she was going to steal some data from a non-networked system aboard Degree Station. Myron, like most people in the universe, knew that Degree was the front for the Crimson Eye crime syndicate, and people who want to stay healthy generally do not get involved with them. But Melis laid on a sob story about how it was medical data that could help a lot of sick kids. She spewed a whole bunch of medical-sounding mumbo-jumbo at Myron, and while it all sounded plausible, he remained skeptical. Melis, however, could be very persuasive, and that is why the pair of them are now making their way back to the station's docking level with a data pod full of stolen information. They know, Myron says, looking suspiciously at the other people on the wide thoroughfare. They don't know. It's going to be a long time before anyone else tries to access that computer. I spent a long time figuring out their schedules. And what if someone breaks the schedule? Hey! Shouts a man in a black suit. The suit looks too tight against his muscled arms. You two, stop! Then we run, Melis says before bolting. Alarms sound as the two run from the ever-increasing number of Crimson Eye members. Seeing the commotion, most people press themselves against the walls, not wanting to be involved even accidentally. As Melis and Myron near the open doors to the dock, a pair of Crimson Eye steps out in front of them. Melis does not slow down, but barrels into the man. Not expecting this move, the mafioso is knocked off of his feet as the young woman staggers but regains her balance and continues running towards the ship. Myron, being no stranger to a fight, puts his shoulder low and forward and slams into the mobster blocking his path like a runaway freighter, throwing the man up and over him without so much as ever slowing down from the impact. Melis' ship looks like a normal Adams Evader, a light, maneuverable little hauler, but Myron knows that its normal exterior hides a heavily modified craft, one that flies more like a fighter than a freighter. Melis signals the ship to unseal with her datapod and leaps through the hatch while it's still opening. Myron follows, but knocks his right shoulder on the still protruding door. Get us started up, Melis orders, sounding a lot older than she looks suddenly. Myron moves through the cockpit and drops into his seat. The controls light up as he begins to rush through the pre-flight sequence. On the monitors, he can see black-suited Crimson Eye muscle surrounding the ship. They are carrying guns, and some of them look powerful enough to blast their way through the ship's hull if they could actually be fired in this area. Weapons lock is on, shields are up, doors are sealed, Myron announces. It's not going to take them long to get a cutter over here and open us up like a pot of instant noodles. Just get us moving, I've got this, Melis says as she comes into the cockpit and drops into the co-pilot's seat. She begins working her datapod. Okay, we're good. Myron lifts off from the deck and slowly maneuvers toward the landing strip. Through the front monitors, he can see the faint green glow of the atmospheric retaining field and the thick sealed door beyond it. As he looks from screen to screen, he can see the weapons lock deactivate, followed by the station's environmental fields and shielding. The doors are still shut. Open them. This girl can do it. All right, strap in. Myron fires the ship's main weapons. On a stock Adams Evader, these would only scorch the outside of the thick doors, but on Melis' craft, the guns rip through the doors like they were made of paper. The ship shudders as oxygen suddenly blows out into space, taking the mobsters with it, along with a lot of tools, crates, and pretty much anything else that wasn't locked down. With a flash, the Evader's engines fire, and the little ship rockets out into space. Melis laughs. We did it! We got away! Not yet, we haven't. The small ship wheels around in space and heads back towards the torn metal square in the side of the station. "What are you doing?" Melis cries, clutching her seat's armrests. "Making sure we're not followed." "No, we're gonna crash!" Myron guides the Evader back through the hole and opens fire, tearing large, glowing holes in the landing strip's surface. At the angle he's flying, the back of the Evader scrapes along the ceiling of the landing bay, something that would make a horrendous noise if the dock was pressurized. As he approaches the other end of the landing bay, Myron corrects the angle of the craft and fires at the sealed hatch. The ship flies through the torn, melting metal hole and back into space. "Thiek!" Melis screams, almost hysterical. "You're crazy!" "You wanted a good pilot? A good pilot avoids a fight whenever possible." "We could have been killed!" "We just stole something from the mob. We may still be killed if you left anything behind that identifies us." "No." Melis looks down at her datapod. "Right about now, their entire security system is rewriting itself. They aren't going to have any security footage of us or anyone else." "Then I guess it's just smooth sailing back to Prosper. I'm going to take a nap. Wake me if anything exciting happens." "Wait, what?" "It doesn't look like anyone's following us, and they're not going to be launching anyone after us for a while, so I'm going to go lay down." Myron dreams of he and Melis having a private celebration in a hotel room on Prosper. They're together in bed, and he is rounding the bases when the whole building begins to shake violently. The world spins, and Myron awakens to find himself on the floor in the back of Melis' ship, which is rattling violently around him. "Melis, what's going on?" Myron yells as he scrambles toward the cockpit. His head aches, and his mind feels foggy. He stops when he sees Melis standing before an airlock with an envirosuit most of the way on. In her left hand, she holds the suit's helmet. In her right, she holds an energy pistol. At her feet lies a parachute pack. "Melis?" "Damn it. I was afraid I hadn't given you enough. I was hoping you'd sleep through the crash." "What? Where are we? How long was I asleep?" "We're at Prosper. You've been out for about 4 days." "What are you doing?" "I'm getting away with this. Once we've finished atmospheric entry, I'm going to be leaving, and you'll ride the ship the rest of the way to the ground." Myron takes a cautious step forward, keeping his hands up, palms open. "Why are you doing this?" "Did you really think I could take out the entire security system of a space station from my datapod? I'm good, but I'm not that good. They're going to come after us, and when they do, they will find the ship crashed on re-entry. No one could have survived it." Myron takes another step forward. "There are no children, are there? No medical breakthrough will save lives?" "Well, the data will greatly benefit my kids when I have some. The data I stole is going to make me rich. It'll certainly save my life, save it from ever having to be wasted on work again." "So you used me?" Myron asks, taking another step. "Keep your distance, Pops." She motions at him with the gun. "You don't have to do this. We can work this out so we both walk away, maybe even go with those plans we made." Myron takes another step. "I played you, old man. Get over—" Myron lunges forward, grabbing the blaster with his right hand. Melis pulls the trigger, and Myron hears the air sizzle next to his ear as he slams her arm into the airlock door. He brings his left fist up to the young woman's face. He can hear her nose break with the impact. As blood starts to flow from Melis's nose, Myron grabs her short, silky hair and rams her face into the airlock. Once, twice, 3 times, leaving a smear of blood against the metal. "You forget that age comes with experience, young lady," Myron says, releasing his grip on her arm and opening the inner airlock door. Myron shoves the girl into the airlock head first. She staggers into the outer door as he closes the inner door behind her, sealing her in, and then locks it. The ship's shuddering evens out as it passes fully into the planet's atmosphere, and everything goes silent as the engines cut out, leaving the ship in freefall. Melis's head clears, and she begins pounding on the small window set into the airlock door with her helmet, cursing him. Myron doesn't say anything. He merely bends down and picks up the parachute pack, holding it so Melis can see. The girl's eyes go wide with realization. "Myron, I'm sorry, you're right, we can work this out," she pleads, rage being replaced by fear. "Try flapping your arms," Myron says, slowly reaching for the airlock controls. The last Myron sees of her, she's still trying to put on her helmet, not that it will save her from the impact. He leaves her to her fate as she's blown out into the thin air of the upper atmosphere. Myron rushes to the bridge and finds that the controls are all locked. Realizing he has little time before he too slams into the ground at terminal velocity, he tries the one thing no pilot ever does in atmosphere. He shuts the ship down completely, reboots it, and prays that this will work. The landing is rough, but Myron manages to pull it off without too much damage to the ship. Alive but alone, Myron sits in the empty craft. He thinks how lucky he is to still be alive, and while he may have lost the girl and the data, he has a ship that he can sell for parts, except for the guns, he's keeping those. And he got out alive. In Myron Teavish's book, any conflict you walk away from is a victory. And that's our story for today. Spacey Little Cowgirl was another one that was written for Clever Fiction. The prompt on this one was winner, leaving, and alone. This is, I think, the first one I've done on here for Storytime that is set in what I call the Noodleverse. It is a universe where a novel that I've failed to write 3 times so far called Instant Noodles takes place. Obviously, it is a kind of soft sci-fi action-y kind of setting. If you have read any of my stuff, like back on Clever Fiction, or even if you've ever tracked down my blog, which is still up there, although a lot of the links on it are to Clever Fiction and therefore no longer work, there's a series of stories about characters Zane and Delana. I don't think I've done one of those stories here yet. They take place in that universe. I've written far more about those 2 characters in the Noodleverse than the actual Instant Noodles main characters. But so be it. And that's going to finish up today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and ring the little bell so you know when I post new videos if you have already done so. And, yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.